Hi everyone, Michelle here. Welcome back to Stretch and Reset. Tonight we're going to be doing a 60-minute full body stretch, everything from our toes all the way up through our necks. We're going to use two different props this evening. First one that I have is a foam yoga block, just your basic three-sided yoga block. If you don't have something similar to this, your foam roller is the perfect alternative. And if you don't have a foam roller or a yoga block, you could just stack a couple books on top of one another and just make sure they don't slide around on each other so that you can really rest some weight down on that. In addition to the yoga block, we're going to be using a yoga strap. Just a long piece of fabric, pretty much. If you don't have a yoga strap, the tie that goes around a bathrobe is an awesome alternative. You could use a belt that goes around your pants. Even a bath towel or a t-shirt would work, but we are going to be tugging on it a good bit, so just make sure that it's not something you'll be upset if it gets a little stretched out. And all you have to do is set those props up at the top of your mat, and we'll begin in child's pose. Big toes touching, knees as wide as your mat. Sink your hips all the way back toward your heels and rest your forehead down on the ground. Crawl your fingertips up to the very top edge of the mat. Press your palms firm into the ground and take 3 giant breaths. Inhale, fill all the way up. Open your mouth, just let the breath fall out. Again, inhale, fill. And exhale, empty. One more time, deep breath in through your nose. Full sigh out through your mouth. Crawl both hands over toward the right side of your mat. Reach your left fingertips up a little higher than your right side. Press your palm into the ground, and then try to tug your left hip back away from your left fingertips. Just feeling that first bit of stretch in the left side of the body. On your inhales, imagine filling up the left rib cage, the left lung, a little more than the right side. And let that exhale really soften the muscles that wrap around those left ribs. Walk your hands back through the center onto your mat, and then over to the left side of the mat. Right fingertips reach up a little higher than the left side. And we breathe into the right side of the ribs more than the left. Every exhale, trying to pull your hips back away from your right hand. Crawl your fingers back to the top of the mat. Rest your forehead down one more time. Press your palms into the ground. Lift your elbows up off the floor. So maybe you're just on your palms or even just on your fingertips, but the hips are still reaching back. We're still in child's pose. As you tap your elbows back down, bring them a little closer together. Take your hands into a prayer. Bring that prayer onto the back of your neck. And then press your elbows firm into your mat. Drag your hips away from your elbows. Stay for 2 more breaths. Release your hands. Separate them at the top of your mat. Lift yourself up to tabletop. Knees underneath your hips. Hands underneath your shoulders. Take a few rounds of cat and cow from here. Belly drops to the floor. Look up. Take that big inhale. Chin into your chest. Round your back. Press the mat away. Belly to the floor. Big stretch through the abs on your breath in. Chin into your chest, big stretch across the upper back as you breathe out. Once more each way, belly to the floor, look up on the inhale. Chin to chest, round your back on your exhale. Come back to tabletop, nice and flat, right between those two poses. And then from this tabletop position, shift forward into a kneeling plank. So your hips are gonna reach down toward the mat, and your chest is gonna reach out toward the top edge of the mat. Soften your elbows so you lay all the way down onto your stomach. And then plant your fingertips, lift your chest up just a little, baby cobra. Melt yourself all the way back down to the ground. Use your palms to press your hips back to child's pose. And we'll roll through those two positions a couple more times. Round your spine, lift up to tabletop as you breathe in. Lower all the way down onto your stomach as you breathe out. Legs stay heavy, just the chest lifts, baby cobra. Press your palms into the ground, reach your hips back, child's pose. One more time, round your spine, roll up, tabletop. Soften the elbows, lay all the way down on your stomach. Press your palms into the ground, slide the shoulders down your back, baby cobra. Press your hands into the mat, reach your hips back, child's pose. And walk your hands in toward your knees. Lift your shoulders up over top of your hips. And then lift up and tuck your toes underneath you so you're sitting on the ball of your foot. Your heel is stacked right over top of your toes. It's going to be kind of tender on the soft sole of your foot, on the bottom of it. Take your hands, lace your fingertips behind your low back. Push your knuckles down to the ground. Lift your gaze up toward your ceiling. As this bind is a little too tight, reach for that yoga strap or for your towel and hold on to the strap instead of trying to hold your hands together. Squeeze your shoulder blades together a little tighter, mimicking that same feeling that we had in that baby cobra, that openness in the chest, strength in the back of the body. And release your hands. Bring your chin back down. Plant your hands and then lift your hips, coming into a ragdoll position at the back of your mat. Feet are hips width distance. Knees are really soft. Upper body's just folding down and resting on your thighs. There's no effort. You can keep your hands heavy on the ground or lace them together at the base of your neck. Take 3 big breaths. One more time, deep breath in. Open your mouth, sigh out. Release your arms if they're bound. Walk your hands out to the top of your mat into a high plank position, just for transition. And press your hips back, downward facing dog. Take a moment in down dog to bend one knee at a time, or to press one hip to the side. And notice that change in the stretch in your calves. Lengthen both legs, make both heels heavy on the mat. Lift up to your toes on your breath in. Drop your heels to the right, toes to the left. Bend your knees away from your wrists. Feel that big stretch on the left side of the body, just like we felt in child's pose. And then rise to the center, heels lift. Drop the heels to the left, toes to the right. Bend your knees, reach away from your hands. Feel that stretch on the right side of the ribs. Come back to center, lengthen your legs. Make the heels heavy. Take a big breath in through your nose. Shift forward into your high plank just for a moment. Step your right foot between your hands for low lunge. Drop the back knee all the way down to the ground. Untuck your back toes. Sweep your arms up overhead. And then just like we did on our toes, lace your hands together at your low back. Reach your knuckles down towards your left heel, open up your chest. Take a deep breath in, filling up the left lower side of the belly. And a deep breath out. Release your hands, frame your right foot. Slide your hips backwards, straight in the right leg, kneeling half split. It probably doesn't feel very good on this first round, but I promise you'll notice this position get easier and easier each time we come back to it. Take one more breath in kneeling half split. Bend your right knee. Press into your hands. Step back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Shift forward, high plank on your breath out. Step your left foot between your hands. Drop your right knee to the ground for low lunge. Untuck the right toes, sweep your arms up, big on the breath in. Place your hands together at your low back. Lift your chest and reach the knuckles down on your breath out. Stay for one big inhale, filling up the right side of the body. And one big exhale. Release your hands, frame your left foot. Slide back, kneeling half split. Take a look at your left foot. Flex your ankle a little firmer. Pulling the left pinky toe up toward your shin. Reach your chest out toward your toes. Notice what it feels like now. This very first round. Just try to create a softer feeling every time we come back into this position. Take one more big breath in. One more breath out. Bend your left knee. Plant your hands. Step back, downward facing dog. Take a moment to press your chest back toward your thighs and lift your hips away from your wrists. It should feel like you're trying to push your mat out underneath you. Take a deep breath in. Bigger stretch in the hamstrings as you breathe out. One more time, inhale, fill. Exhale, shift forward, high plank. Right foot steps between your hands for low lunge. Drop the back knee to the ground. Sweep your arms up overhead on your inhale. Take your right fingertips down to the ground. Reach your left arm over to the right side of your mat. And then change sides. Bring your left fingertips to the ground. Reach your right arm overhead. We move from side to side. Right fingertips down, left arm up and over. Left fingertips down, right arm up and over. If the ground is too far, that's where your block or your foam roller comes in handy. Just bring your hand down to that block instead of trying to touch the ground. And the last time you reach your left arm up and over, stay. Take your gaze back over your right shoulder. Reach your left fingertips to the right side one more time. And then frame your right foot, kneeling half split. We've been here already. Flex your right toes. Reach your chest out toward your right foot. Roll the outside of your right hip down to the ground, and then pull it back another inch. And that left hip's gonna sneak forward as that right hip pulls backwards. Take 2 deep breaths. Soften your right knee, plant your hands, tuck the left toes, step back, downward facing dog. Leave it one more time from this downward dog position. Take a deep breath in. Shift forward, high plank on your breath out. Step your left foot between your hands, drop your right knee to the ground. Sweep your arms up overhead, big inhale. Left fingertips to the ground, right arm up and over, exhale. Switch sides, right fingertips down, left arm up and over. And then move on your own. alternating left to right. One more each way, and you'll keep your right arm over your head this time. Take your gaze back over the left shoulder, reach the right fingertips 1 extra inch. Frame your left foot, kneeling half split. Flex your left toes, reach your chest forward, and then again, roll the outside of the left hip down toward the mat, and pull that left sit bone toward the back edge of the mat. It should make the stretch really intense, but use your breath to soften the muscles in that left leg. Make it easier to stay here. Take your last deep breath in. Deep breath out. Bend your left knee. And make sure that you can plant your weight in your left foot. We're going to take this right leg and drag it all the way in until you're sitting on top of your right foot. So your left foot is planted and the top of your right foot is pressing into the mat. Then take your fingertips out in front of your left foot and gently lean a little weight onto that left side. You'll notice a stretch in your left calf, maybe some mobility in that left ankle. And shift forward and backwards. You can take a little rock or twist from right to left if it feels good on the left Achilles. Just one more reach or one more lean forward. And then trying to make this as graceful as you can. Press off of the left foot. Step your right foot next to it, forward fold. Feet are hips width distance, hands are heavy on the ground. Bend your right knee, straighten your left. Reach your left arm up toward the ceiling. Feel a big stretch in the outside of your left hip. And if the ground feels far away, bring your hand onto your foam roller or onto your block. Take one more big breath in, one more twist on the exhale. And then come back to center, switch sides. Bend your left knee, straighten your right. Reach your right arm up toward the ceiling. Take your gaze up toward the right fingertips. Maybe that right hand starts to reach back behind the ribs. And then soften that right hand back down to the ground, fold over both legs. We're going to reverse the ankle stretch. So your right foot's going to stay exactly where it is. You're going to pick the left foot up and lower all the way down onto the left shin. So now your right foot is firm and you're on the top of the left foot. Plant your fingertips in front of your ankle or in front of your legs and just shift forward and backwards. Nice and easy. There's no certain amount of ground that you have to cover. You don't have to lift the heel up. You might not even have to lean if you feel that stretch right away. Just let it feel like the ankle is folding deeply, the Achilles and the calf get a little stretch. Awesome. And then plant your hands. Press onto your right foot, step your left foot next to it, forward fold. Separate your feet wider than your hips, maybe even wider than your mat, coming into yogi squat or malasana. I'll turn so you can see. So the toes are out, the heels are in. You're gonna lower all the way down, and then bring your hands into the center of your chest. Good. Use your elbows to press your inner thighs away from you. And if it looks something like this, that's still a great version. You're gonna get a nice stretch through the inner thighs either way. If you need some support, you could always take your yoga block and sit down on it. And then find a little more height in the torso. Give your sit bones pressing down toward the floor or down into your block, and your chest lifting up away from the top of the hips. Take 2 more big breaths. Take your right hand, press it outside of your right foot. So those right fingertips are gonna press into the mat. Take your left arm, reach it up toward the ceiling. Take your gaze up toward your left hand. And then check back in on that right knee, and if it's starting to fold in toward the middle, use your elbow to press it back out. Bring your hands back to heart center, straighten your spine out. Same thing on the other side. Left fingertips press outside of your left foot. Reach your right arm up to the sky. Use your left elbow to press the left knee open. One more big breath in. One more big breath out. Hands to heart center, flatten the spine out. Plant your hands, lift your hips into your forward fold. If you're not facing the top of your mat, just take a little turn to get there. And then plant your hands, step your feet back into your downward facing dog. Take your right foot, step it forward between your hands into your runner's lunge. So it's just a shift. We skip the plank this time. Right foot forward. Take a moment to let the hips sink toward the ground and to lift your gaze. And this can feel really nice with that block underneath your hand. Or maybe you have 2 blocks. Like the weight of the pelvis is just melting toward the floor and the rest of you is trying to lift up away from the ground. It doesn't have to be easy. It's okay if the legs feel like they're doing some work. I just want you to focus on the length in the front of the left hip flexor. Stay for 2 more breaths. Straighten both legs. Step your left foot up into pyramid pose. So left foot in the center of the mat, bowing over the right leg. Just like we did in our kneeling half split, take the outer edge of your right hip and pull it back an inch or 2 toward the back edge of the mat. Press the front side of the left hip forward. And then reach your chest out further over your thigh on your next inhale. Melt down a little deeper on your exhale. Using every breath in and every breath out as a way to feel something different in this stretch. So it never feels the same from start to finish. Take one more big inhale. One more big exhale. Soften your knees. Keep your left hand on the ground or your block. Reach your right arm up to the sky. Revolve triangle. Still trying to roll the outer edge of the hip back. Reach the chest up away from the front of the hips. And stay for 1 more breath in. And 1 more breath out. Soften your knees. Plant your hands at the top of your mat. We'll meet back up in downward facing dog. Take a moment to notice if there's a difference in the right and the left leg right now. If you feel different in the calves or in the hips or the hamstrings. Keep your mind present. Try not to let it wander on this second side. Take a big inhale. Shift forward, left foot steps between your hands for runner's lunge. Your hands can come to blocks or rise up to your fingertips. Just let your hips get heavy toward the mat. Lift your chest and your shoulders away from your legs. Now there's a difference between letting the hips get heavy and then totally relaxing. I want you to keep a little tone in the legs. Inner thighs are still drawing toward one another. Your left knee is pulling away from the right ankle. We're just letting gravity assist that hip flexor stretch on the right side. Take 2 more breaths. Step the right foot into the middle of the mat, straighten both legs for pyramid. So your feet are both facing the top of the mat, toes to 12 o'clock. Think of being on railroad tracks instead of on tightrope, and then pull the left sit bone to the back edge of the mat. Reach your chest forward, take a long breath in. Melt over your leg, breath out. Two more deep breaths. Use that exhale to encourage a softening. Halfway lift your chest, take a breath in. Right hand stays on the ground, left arm reaches to the ceiling, revolve triangle on your breath out. It's a lot easier if you lift that bottom hand up a touch onto your block or onto your roller. And then pull the left hip backwards and reach the crown of your head to the top edge of the mat. And take 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. Left hand to the mat. Step your right foot up to the top of your mat, forward fold. You're gonna bend both knees until your butt reaches down toward your heels. And for a lot of people, your heels are gonna pop up off the mat. It's not only okay, it's actually gonna make the stretch feel a little better. So you wanna get to that point where the heels are hovering, walk your hands out in front of you, and then rock forward and backwards a touch. Emphasize on the rock back, that sinking feeling in the heels and that stretching feeling in the calves. This feels the best for me if I take a little twist from right to left. Start to feel some movement in the ankles and that calf stretch slides onto like the outer and the inner sections of the calf. Maybe a little stretch to the bottoms of the feet. Good. 1 more each way. And then plant your hands, lift your hips, forward fold. Soften your knees, step back to downward facing dog. And take a deep breath in through your nose. And a deep sigh out through your mouth. As you shift forward, take your right foot outside of your right hand. So we're gonna skip that middle position and just step outside the right hand here into an active lizard pose. And just like you did in runner's lunge, let gravity pull your pelvis toward the floor and lift your chest. Just 2 breaths. And take that back leg and spin your left heel toward the ground. Coming into warrior 1 legs. You're gonna reach your left arm up to the ceiling for side angle. If you don't like your left hand on the ground, take your forearm, just press it on your thigh. One more big inhale. 1 more exhale. Reach your left hand to the back of your mat. Scoop it toward the floor. Rise up, warrior one, facing the top edge of the mat. The feet are the same. Your right knee is bent. Your left heel is pressing into the ground. Place your hands together at your low back. Pull the knuckles down. Open up your chest. You can stay just like this or bow inside your right leg for humble warrior. That bind doesn't feel good. Grab your towel, grab your yoga strap. And just try to soften the upper body down inside that right leg. Take one more breath with the bind in the hands. And release your hands to the floor. Crawl to the left side of your mat for wide leg forward fold. And turn your heels out a little wider than your toes. Anchor the pinky toe edge of both feet down into the ground. One more big inhale. One more big exhale. Walk your hands out underneath your shoulders. Take a little bend into your left knee, straighten your right. And then take it back to the top of the mat. Plant your hands in the front. Step your right foot back to your last downward facing dog. Take a big breath in through your nose. A big sigh out through your mouth. Step your left foot outside of your left pinky finger, coming into an active lizard pose. Let gravity take over. It starts to pull your hips down toward the floor for 2 breaths. And then take that back leg, spin your right heel to the ground, warrior one legs. Reach your right arm up toward the ceiling for side angle. And if you don't like your hand on the ground, take it to your block or rest your forearm on your thigh. And then take your gaze up toward that right hand. Use that to stretch the collarbones apart. One more breath in and out. The top arm makes a big circle. Rise up to warrior one, facing the top of the mat. Bend in the left knee, straighten the right. Place your hands together at your low back. Push the knuckles down, lift your chest. You can stay just like this, or bow inside the left leg. Just like in pyramid pose, it's helpful to have the feet on railroad tracks instead of on a tightrope. So if you're lining your heels up, just scoop that right foot over toward the right edge of the mat a little more. Take one more big breath in, and one more big breath out. Release your hands down to the ground. Crawl around to the right side. Wide leg forward fold number 2. And we've been here already, so I want you to add in a different variation. Maybe you keep your hands down behind your back, or you grab a hold of your ankles and pull your chest through. You can take a little shift in the hips. Walk your hands out in front of you, halfway lift the chest. Put a little bend in the right knee, straighten the left one. And crawl around to the top of your mat. Plant your hands. We'll step back to tabletop. And then Shift your hips back towards your heels for child's pose. And just a couple breaths here. Take a scan from your head all the way down toward your toes. Just notice what spots feel like they have some extra space. We're not finished yet, just a little check-in halfway through. What feels good, what might need a little more attention. Are there any spots that you can soften just with the breath? Maybe the exhale is enough to soften the jaw, and to relax the space between the eyebrows, the sides of the neck. Walk your hands in toward your knees. Lift your shoulders up over top of your hips. And then reach forward and grab your yoga strap or your yoga towel, whatever you have that's that long piece of fabric. Great. I'm gonna do this position with my tops of my feet on the mat. So my toenail polish is facing the ground. You could take that same toe tuck position that we felt in the very beginning. And once you get that set up, go ahead and take your strap a little past shoulder width. And we'll start with a gentle, so it's okay if it's really wide. That whole strap is gonna lift up overhead. Keep the arms straight, reach the strap back behind you. Feel that nice stretch across your chest. And then bring the strap down in front of you. Tuck your chin into your chest, round your upper back. If that's not enough of a stretch, walk the hands in again, and then do it over. Lift the strap up. Reach it back behind you. Keep the arms straight. Don't let it look like you're putting a shirt on. Just reaching that strap in back. And then tuck your chin into your chest. Press the strap out past your knees. Take a few on your own. Let it feel like a seated cat and cow. Really open in the front of the body on this version, or this portion. And then round it in the upper body, creating space across the upper back. Awesome. You guys, we're gonna do one more and end with our hands up in the air. So take that last big stretch through your chest. And then keep your biceps up next to your ears. You're gonna pull the right side of the strap down, reach your left arm up to the sky. Get a nice stretch in the left side of the body. And then reverse that, pull the left hand down, reach the right arm up. Good. One more each way. Gentle pull down on the right side, reach the left up. And a gentle pull down on the left side, reach the right up. Bring it back to center, drop that strap down by your side. And if you're sitting on the tops of your feet still, just go ahead and swing your legs around into a comfortable seat. Place your hands on your knees. Close your eyes for this one. Be very gentle with how we move the neck. I don't need you to push or pull it in any direction. We're gonna let gravity help with this one. You're gonna take your right ear and drop it toward your right shoulder. You'll notice that first stretch on the left side of the neck. Take a moment to relax both shoulders again away from the ears. And then reach your left fingertips out to the left edge of your mat, or the back edge of your mat, depending on which way you're facing. And the more you reach your left fingertips, the deeper that stretch in your neck is gonna feel. Try to slide the shoulders down, lift the ear up. And then keeping that left arm reaching over to the left, just take your nose and point it down toward your left knee. So turn your whole gaze down toward that left knee, and you'll feel that stretch slide toward the back of your neck on the left side. Gently lift your chest and chin all the way back up. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Gentle, right, left to your left shoulder, right side of the neck gets the stretch. Ease into it. If that's already a lot, if you're wanting to clench your jaw and shrug your shoulders up, I want you to stay here and just use the breath to create some ease. If you're looking for a little more of a stretch, those right fingertips reach toward the right edge of the mat or the right side of your body. Big stretch. For me, it's going from the back of my ear all the way down along the front of my collarbone, across that shoulder. Take your nose, turn it down toward your left knee. And then lift your chin up away from your chest. Notice that extra space along the sides of the neck. You're gonna take your yoga strap again or your towel, whatever you have, and we're gonna stretch the right leg out in front of us. Just the right leg. And that left leg is gonna stay tucked in. Take your yoga strap and wrap it around the bottom of your foot. Now, for the first couple moments of this, we're not focusing on the left ham or on the right hamstring. We're gonna focus on the left shoulder. You're gonna take your left hand behind your back and try to grab that yoga strap over your right hip. If it's not long enough, you can tie the strap around the foot and make it a little longer. And if you're still not able to grab that, forget about the strap and just place your hand on the small of your back. You're gonna start to turn over toward your left side. And you're trying to create that same stretch through the front of your chest that we felt when we were holding our hands behind our back. Maybe a little deeper on this version. Squeeze that left elbow into the middle of the back. Take one more breath in and out. Gently release the strap. Turn yourself back around to face the right leg and bow forward over the right side. And again, if your yoga strap is still around your foot, you can hold on to that. And we're going to be here for quite a few breaths. Don't let that be an invitation for your mind to wander. Try to feel the full breath. In through the nose, the back of the throat, the lungs, the belly. And all the way back out through those same spots. Take 4 more breaths. Reach your sit bones behind you. Reach your chest away from your sit bones. One more time, deep breath in through the nose. Soften that last little bit on the breath out. Lift your chest and chin all the way back up. And take the strap off of your foot. Now we're gonna turn the knee in 2 different directions. We're gonna start with internal rotation. So that right knee is gonna bend and you're gonna bring your right foot behind you. And so you've got a bend in the front knee and a bend in the back knee that mirror each other. And then notice that all of your body weight's gonna wanna shift over to the front hip and I want you to pull it over so that it's right in the middle. Think of anchoring your right hip into the ground a little sturdier. So the right sit bone goes down and the crown of the head reaches up. Take your right hand to your left knee, gentle twist open toward that left side. It should be a very tight stretch on the inside of that right hip. If you're not feeling it, play around with your posture. You might be sitting back or tucking the tailbone under a little too much. Level out the pelvis. Stack your shoulders over top of your hips. Take one more deep breath in. One more deep breath out. Gently bring yourself back to the center. And bow down over your left leg. Think of pulling that left sit bone back and reaching your chest forward over the thigh. Palms will plant down. And so this is a modified half pigeon with that back knee bent. If you want, you could take that left leg, swing it all the way in back, and come into a full half pigeon. That sounds funny, full half. Coming into a traditional half pigeon. I like to keep that back knee bent because I'm still getting a little bit of that internal rotation in that right hip. And take one more breath in. And one more breath out. Lift your shoulders back up over top of your hips. Come back into the stretch. Don't let yourself sit to the left too much. Now we're gonna turn this knee in the complete opposite direction. So you're gonna take that right leg, carefully swing it around to the front. And you're gonna stack your right ankle on top of your left knee for a seated half pigeon. The other leg is gonna get the stretch this time, the other hip. Flex your right foot. Press your chest up away from your hands, and then anchor your sit bones back down into the floor. One more big breath in. And big breath out. Stretch the left leg out long. Just bring your right foot into the inside of your left thigh. So we're on the opposite side. And you're gonna take the yoga strap around the bottom of your left foot. If you need to make that a little longer, go ahead and add that knot in. And then your right hand is gonna reach around and grab the yoga strap. And you're gonna focus on twisting to the right to stretch across the chest on the right side. I'm really pushing my right hand into the small of my back and trying to squeeze that right elbow back behind me. All those small decisions or those small choices in that right arm are what emphasize the stretch or make it feel softer. So play around with them until you find the response that you're looking for, and then stay and breathe for a few rounds. One more big breath in. Big breath out. Turn yourself back to the left leg and bow forward over that left side. Either using your strap or your towel for help, or just letting the chest melt down. Well, if you're really flexible, you might be able to take your yoga block or your roller at the bottom of your foot and give yourself a little something extra to reach toward. But if you add that in, make sure that you're playing the pelvis the right way. So press the the right hip a little firmer into the mat and pull your chest away from the left hip. Use your breath to soften all the parts of the body that aren't stretching right now. Soften the shoulders, soften the hands, and soften the arms. Set this up in a way where you're not pulling yourself with your arms, but you're just letting the weight rest down. It's a little heavier with each exhale. Take one more big breath all the way in through the nose. Open your mouth, sigh out. Lift your shoulders up over top of your hips. Remove your strap if you've been using it. And then take this left leg and bend the left knee, bringing that left foot all the way back behind you. Now the tendency is always going to be to lean toward that front hip. It makes it easier. Pull back onto that left sit bone. Anchor the left sit bone down, like you could reach it to the floor. Lift the crown of your head up. This might be enough. You might feel that stretch enough to just stay right here and breathe. Only if you need more. Take your left hand to your right knee. Gentle twist, open to the right. And there's a solid chance that that left sit bone is not touching the ground, and it's totally okay. I want you to keep reaching it toward the ground though. Even if it's not touching, we're trying. Just for the record, mine's not touching either. Lift yourself up a little taller, tuck the tailbone under just a smidge. And then bring yourself back to the center and fold forward over your right leg. Reach that right sit bone back. Like you could take the pelvis and tilt it forward and then just soften your forearms down to the ground. Option to take your left leg and reach it all the way back behind you into a traditional half pigeon, or you can stay here and keep the bend in the left knee. One more big breath in and out. Walk your hands in toward your shin, lift your shoulders up. And then gently take the left leg, swing it around to the front, and set up seated half pigeon. With your left ankle crossing over your right knee, and then pressing your chest up toward the right shin, toward the left shin. Just one more breath in and out. And then release that top leg. Bring the bottoms of your feet to touch. Grab a hold of your ankles. Take one fold forward over bound angle or Baddha Konasana legs. You can use your elbows on your inner thighs to add a little assist. It should feel somewhat similar to that yogi squat or malasana pose that we took earlier. And gently lift your chest and chin all the way back up. Reach your legs out long in front of you, arms sweep up, bow down over both legs for seated forward fold. Our last upright posture. And another option or another place to add in your yoga strap or your towel if you need a little help. One more big breath in. And big breath out. your chest and shoulders all the way back up over top of your hips. Set the strap off to the side. We're finished with that, and we'll end our last two poses with our yoga block. You're gonna turn long ways on your mat, and we'll set up a supported fish. I like to bring my block onto the medium side, and some people might like the lowest side. I don't recommend the highest one. Once you find that side, lowest or medium side, you're gonna let the bottom of your shoulder blades catch the edge of the block, and then let your chest rest down on that block, almost like something resting on a table. You can stretch your legs out long, let the arms drop down by your sides. And the goal would be to have the crown of your head reaching toward the floor. If you're on your foam roller, you might want to bring your hands behind your head and just let your head rest back into your palms. Take one more breath in your supported fish. Slide your forearms underneath you. Prop yourself up so that you can take the block out and lie all the way on your back. Bring your feet in, flat onto the ground. Lift your hips up into a bridge position, and then slide your foam roller or your yoga block right underneath your tailbone. Setting up supported bridge. Set this up in a way that you can let the weight of the pelvis just rest down on that block. The muscles in the legs turn off. The quads and the hip flexors, the hamstrings, they all relax. We soften the hands and the shoulders and the jaw and the forehead. And if it feels okay for you in this position, if your body feels supported and like it could rest, I want you to stay here for the rest of the class. Taking your final rest, your Shavasana in the supported bridge position. If this doesn't feel good for some reason, then remove the block and bring your hips straight down to the ground. Set up your Shavasana on your back. Gently lift your hips. Slide your block or your roller out from underneath you. Bring your hips straight down to the ground. Feet go mat's width distance, maybe even wider. Let your knees fall together in the middle. And then place your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your belly. Just a few breaths. And gently rock onto either side. And then use your top arm to lift yourself up to a seated position. Just facing the top of your mat. And we'll end with our legs crossed, our eyes closed, sitting up tall. Just a few more breaths. Take an inhale to the count of 4. Hold it at the top. And then open your mouth, sigh it out. Again, breathe in to the count of 4, filling up every last space that you can. Hold it for just a moment. Take in a little more air. And then open your mouth, sigh it all back out. One final time. Your deepest breath in, maybe to the count of 5 or 6. Hold it for just a second. And then open your mouth and let it all go. Sweep your arms up overhead one time together. Big inhale. Hands to heart center as you exhale. You guys are all finished.